Welcome to Workplace Psychology with Dr. Martha Grajdek. I'm Dr. Martha Grajdek. This podcast examines a wide variety of work-related issues through the lens of industrial and organizational psychology. And while many of the topics discussed here may be seen as intended for white-collar employees and their employers, in reality, the ideas presented here are applicable across organizations and industries. Additionally, many of the topics discussed here may be applicable outside of the workplace. I encourage you to examine what's presented here, apply what makes sense to you, and simply discard the rest. Technology is a big part of our daily reality, whether we're considering our personal lives or our experiences at the workplace. Technology is here to stay. It is also no surprise to most, if not all people, that there is some kind of an impact that technology has on people who use it, people who interact with it. And of course, when it comes to technology and employee well-being, this is a big topic of conversation. The impact of technology is profound and multifaceted. Some of it is good, some of it is not so good. Technology can affect us in terms of our physical health, our psychological health, and even our emotional well-being. And as is the case with many of the topics discussed on this podcast, it is the responsibility of both the employer and the employee to take a look at how technology affects employee well-being. Let's talk about the impact on our physical health. In terms of technology, we tend to sit a lot more, and we tend to look at screens of some sort a lot more because of technology and our interaction with it throughout the day. You could be looking at computer screens, phone screens, tablets, whatever the case may be, and you are more likely than not sitting while you're doing that. It's no surprise that one of the biggest complaints and the biggest ways that technology impacts us in terms of physical health is eye strain. When we look at screens, we tend to blink less, which is not necessarily good for us. The other consideration is the blue light that is emitted from screens. Many of you are already using computer glasses, which help to filter out the blue light that is emanated from these screens. The other thing to consider is posture. When we sit for a long time, it's easy to forget about proper posture and to start to slouch or sit in ways that are uncomfortable and even harmful to our physical well-being. And of course, there's such a thing as repetitive motion when it comes to being concerned for our physical well-being. As far as technology goes, there is a lot of repetitive motion when we work with keyboards and trackpads or some kind of a mouse at our computer. And even if you're using a tablet or a phone, you're still engaging in a lot of repetitive motion when you interact with the screen. Repetitive motion, whether they happen at a factory or in front of a computer or tablet, can be equally as damaging to the body. As I already mentioned, many people tend to sit a lot for work. Unfortunately, that can lead to some health issues that are associated with a more sedentary lifestyle. Think about obesity, cardiovascular health issues, and other health problems that are associated with a sedentary lifestyle. People tended to move a lot more before technology became so prominent in our daily experience. Our high exposure to technology has also been linked to psychological or emotional health issues. The overuse of technology can isolate people, can put strain on us in terms of stress and anxiety. Sometimes overexposure to technology can also lead to depression. We become more isolated socially and physically when we dive into technology too far and too frequently. Humans are social by nature. We need in-person interactions with one another. But technology makes it very easy for us to interact either solely with technology or with other humans via technology, making us think that we are socially engaged, when in reality we are missing out on that very important in-person interaction component. After all, our social behaviors are what make us human. Things such as increased stress or anxiety or depression are not the only concerns when we consider technology and the workplace. Being overly connected can lead to all of those: stress, anxiety, and depression. There are a great deal of problems associated with the pressures of social media. This has become more and more real over the years, and although we're talking about technology at the workplace, that is still very real, even in that setting. As is the problem of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is not limited to the experience of children or teenagers in schools or outside of school. This is a very real problem for adults and in the setting of a workplace. It's important to remember how detrimental and unhealthy and even dangerous it can be to have too much exposure, too much connection and attachment to technology, whether that's in our personal lives or at the workplace. And I understand that it may sound strange to some of you to consider technology as a bad thing at the workplace, because so much of our work wouldn't be what it is today without technology. I'm not saying that all technology is bad all the time. Certainly, it's important, it's valuable, and it helps us to work in ways that we work today. But we have to be cognizant of the potential downfalls and the potential dangers of it, so that we don't get blindsided, so that we don't get caught up in what technology can do to us and allow it to interfere with our well-being, be it physical, psychological, or emotional health. Which brings me to the next point. When it comes to technology and the workplace, the main concern, the main focus should be how technology helps us to do our jobs, not how we can be connected 24/7, not how we can be reached 24/7, but rather how technology can make our lives, our experiences at the workplace better and easier. Let's look at productivity and what technology can do for us, not at the ways of technology pushing the human to the limit or beyond his or her limit to keep up with technology. We want a better experience. We want better productivity, not being overly connected and not working towards stress, anxiety, depression, and burnout. And this is just as important for employers to consider as it is for individual employees. Employers have a tremendous responsibility here, but each individual employee also has the same responsibility of paying attention to their own experience and speaking up when things are out of balance, seeking change, insisting on a healthier experience. The employer has a tremendous amount of responsibility, but with it, a tremendous amount of opportunity to take the lead, to have solid policies in place that allow for their employees to disconnect at the end of the workday. Sometimes some of the worst culprits when it comes to technology and the workplace experience are those unspoken rules or expectations where people are expected to be connected 24/7 simply because the technology allows for it, because the technology exists. Oftentimes, people are expected to respond to emails or to answer phone calls after work, during weekends, and even during vacations or holidays. And while good policies may exist within an organization, it is those unspoken rules and expectations that make all the difference in the workplace experience. And as I've already mentioned, each individual employee has to be willing and able to set their own boundaries in terms of what is work and what is non-work for them. Now to the more positive things associated with technology as far as our workplace experience goes. Besides a better, easier working environment and perhaps better improved productivity, there are other things to consider when it comes to technology and how it can benefit us. Technology can actually help and support our well-being, whether it's our physical well-being or our mental health or emotional well-being. Wellness programs within organizations can implement fitness tools as a way of motivating people to stay healthy. Scheduling breaks can be that much easier with the use of technology and reminders. And of course, technology can be great for helping us to actually disconnect when it's time to leave work behind. Technology can also be helpful when it comes to ergonomic tools, helping our posture and the physical experience we all have at work every day. As far as our mental health is concerned, technology can be helpful there too. Thanks to technology, many people can access things such as support groups and mental health services without ever having to go anywhere. And while that may sound like pure convenience, in reality, it can make mental health services available for many people who may otherwise not be able to reach them. Employers, of course, have the responsibility of not only making sure that such resources are available, but also of making sure that their employees are aware of these resources and are encouraged to actually use them. And of course, individual employees have the responsibility for their own health and well-being. If resources are not available or if technology is working against you rather than for you, you have to speak up, talk to your employer, and see how things can be changed. Make sure you set your own boundaries so that technology, simply because it's available, doesn't connect you to your job on a 24/7 basis. As this episode comes to an end, let's review what was discussed. Technology is a part of life, whether we're considering our work life or our personal life. Technology is everywhere. Most people spend many hours throughout the day looking at a screen of some sort, whether that's their computer screen or their phone or a pad of some sort. And while technology was intended to be helpful and allow us to work more efficiently, it can often become problematic. Too much technology can have a detrimental effect on both our physical and our psychological health. It is up to the employer as much as it is up to the individual employee to consider how technology is affecting the workplace experience and to work towards positive change. We all have the responsibility to work towards an improved experience and to move away from overconnectivity, burnout, stress, and anxiety. And while proper policies may be in place at an organization, it is those unspoken rules and expectations that can make all the difference. And while we have to be aware of the detrimental effects of technology on our health and well-being, there are many ways in which technology can be helpful. It can provide tremendous resources, not only for the workplace experience, but also for our physical and psychological health. As the week unfolds, I invite you to consider your experience with technology. Whether you're a business owner, or you're in a management or a leadership position, or whether you're an individual employee, consider your interaction with technology and what it does for you, or maybe what it does against you, or what it may be doing to you. And many of you will find some pros and some cons associated with your interaction with technology. That's not to say that you can't swing the pendulum in such a way that you will get more positive things and more positive experiences out of your interaction with technology than negative ones. This is the week to roll up your sleeves, make an assessment of how your interactions with technology affect you, and make the changes necessary to optimize your experiences. For those of you who experience this podcast in an audio-only version, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, Stress Free with Dr. G, where you can find the video version of the podcast. While you're there, check out some of the other videos which focus on a comprehensive approach to stress management. The link for Stress Free with Dr. G on YouTube is in the description below. Thank you for joining me today. Please subscribe to this podcast. I look forward to seeing you here again next time. Until then, I wish you joy and well-being.